As you probably know, Flint, Michigan is in the middle of a major lead poisoning catastrophe. It happened because authorities there decided to stop getting their water from Detroit and instead switch to the long polluted Flint River, which looks like the river of evil in Ghostbusters 2.
Each of these individuals attempted to bury or cover up, to downplay or to hide information that contradicted their own narrative, their story.
See, now, what worries me, and I think the reason that a lot of the up front with Flint went away was they did that shit of coating the pipes. So that's made the lead levels drop a little bit. But it's a ticking time bomb.
I want to begin my remarks this afternoon in a little bit different way than I usually do, because I've just come from a meeting which was one of the more difficult meetings that I have ever attended in a long political life, where I have seen a lot and I have heard a lot. I have just met with 7 or 8 residents of Flint, Michigan. And I obviously have read the newspapers, been somewhat involved in the issue, but I really did not know how ugly and how horrible and how terrible what is going on in that community.
All I do here is exist.
Good evening. I feel so happy. What a shit show.
I want a federal investigation and a nonpartisan recount of this entire vote. We need another day of voting, okay? We need to count all provisional ballots, okay? That's what we need to do.
The corruption has become so established that it got comfortable. So comfortable that it got lazy. So lazy that it got hard. No more voter suppression can be tolerated in Maricopa County. We demand that our votes be counted. We demand a revote on June 7th with an open primary. Current corruption needs to be held accountable.
Hey everybody, I am in Detroit right now, walking around the city, getting a feel for everything that's going on, standing in front of the riverfront. Looks like this area was built up in 2004 by some of the rich corporations in the area, but I'm here now talking to you guys because I want to relay my experience from Flint yesterday. Myself, Niko House and Jeff went to Flint yesterday after the Jill Stein rally, and there's a lot going on there that nobody's aware about and that I need to share with all of you. So I got pages of notes here that I want to go through because I don't want to miss any part of any of the people's stories that were shared with me yesterday. So please be patient as I go through. Stay and watch the whole thing. I promise you it's going to be worth it. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. And then share it when it's done. As many people as possible need to hear this and need to know what's going on in Flint, Michigan right now. So as we drove into Flint yesterday, you see a lot of abandoned houses, a lot of abandoned buildings, businesses, churches. That, after speaking to the residents, we know a lot of people are still living in these areas. They're squatting there because it's better than being homeless. And it's not like anybody's there checking on them anyway. Ended up pulling off into a residential area, just kind of hoping to see people out in the streets that we could talk to. And did end up seeing some. We actually pulled over because we saw a Bernie Sanders sign on a supporter's fence. And we spoke to 2 older gentlemen, 1 black man, 1 white man, and a blended family of 5. And I want to kind of share each one of their stories with all of you. The first gentleman, I'm not going to give any names, an older black man who's lived in Flint, Michigan for 42 years, who didn't even have a roof on the top of his house. He had tarps that you or I would use to, put on the carpets of your home when you, paint, so that you don't make a mess. Tarps that you use to cover up the firewood in the back of your house. Those are the things that are protecting his home from the weather. Because it costs more money to repair the roof. It costs a lot more money to repair the roof than the property is actually worth. It's like you getting in a car accident with your 10-year-old car and the insurance company telling you, we're not going to repair it, we're just going to give you the money because it's not even worth repairing. Except for in this case, nobody's giving him the money. There's no insurance company that's saying that your home is no longer livable. which is ridiculous. Right now, he's thinking about just abandoning his home, just packing all of his things up and leaving. Again, this man has been there for 42 years and is ready to abandon his community because none of them feel helped. There's nobody reaching out to help any of these people. They are abandoned. And that's something I'm going to bring back up later. In his water, the gentleman I'm currently speaking about in his home, when you turn on the tap, he calls it sand. He said there's sand that comes out of the water that sits in his glass, and it's sediment. It's sediment from the pipes eroding, getting into the water supply, and being directed right into the kitchens, the showers, the bathrooms, all these people's homes. He's getting blood tests to check his blood, and the state isn't even covering the cost. His insurance company is. Which begs the question, all the residents in Flint don't have health insurance. So are they even being tested? Who's testing their blood? Who's covering the cost? Because it's not the government. The next gentleman was the Bernie Sanders supporter who had the signs outside of his house on the fence. And I've got lots of pictures from this trip that I'm going to be putting up later in a post for you guys to look through, both good and bad. But we spoke to him. We went in his house as well. He grew up in Michigan, left to go to Florida, and then came back to Michigan. And all that movement, all that transportation was done for jobs. He was following the work. Something a lot of people now can do, because a lot of people don't have the resources to just up and move when their company or their job relocates, as we all know. Hell, a lot of them are going overseas. There is no relocation for that. You're just lost. He was explaining to me that although their property taxes keep going up every year, their utility fees, these people are still paying for their water. They can't use it, they can't bathe in it, they can't brush their teeth with it, they can't wash their food or their dishes with it, but they're being paid or being charged for it anyway, which I just can't even seem to understand. But getting back to his property taxes, monthly there are fires being set purposely in the community. There are shootings in the community. You call the fire department, you call the police department. Hours, 4, 5, 6 hours later, these people are showing up. We heard a story from a woman who had someone break into her house, and she called the police, and 4 hours later, they showed up. I'm just happy that woman was still alive to tell that story. As a part of Flint, Michigan's state taxes that they pay into, is their trash has been picked up and paid for through their taxes. So it's not a separate fee. For me, I pay my taxes and I have to pay every 3 months for my trash to be picked up. In Flint, Michigan, that's not the case. But one of the old governors, he couldn't remember the name, has apparently come back into the city with a private corporation who wants to privatize the trash pickup. So again, we have residents paying state taxes, property taxes to cover police, to cover fire, to cover garbage pickup, utilities. These prices aren't going down. But there is no real service. You're paying for something that doesn't exist. If you have an emergency, if your house is burning down, it takes 4 hours for the fire department to show up. Is that a resource? If you're being robbed and it takes 4 hours for the police to show up, is that a resource? No. He also wants to abandon his property. He just bought it recently. He just moved back in, I want to say within the last 5 or 10 years. And I mean, it's a fixer-upper. Some of the walls in his house didn't even have drywall on them. They were just wood frame cutouts with insulation open. I asked him specifically if there was any public officials, any elected officials that he looked to who were speaking for the people of Flint, and his answer was none. He just looked at me and shook his head no. There's nobody that he trusts right now in office to work for their community or speak for them as a whole. The last family that actually Niko spoke with, but I saw, was a blended family of 5. Father, mother, 4 children, and mom was pregnant, baby on the way. And Niko spoke to this family, and the father, Niko asked them about their trust in government, and if the government were to go back to them and say it's safe to drink your water, would you do it? And one of the older children, who was a daughter, shook her head no. didn't seem to express any confidence in her local government. The father said, if the water is clear, then that he thought it was safe to drink. Which put us in the very unfortunate position of having to explain to him that not only was that untrue, but that it was deadly to even think that way. They relayed a story to us about his 4-year-old niece, who is the same age as my 4-year-old daughter, who has lead poisoning, who has brain damage and developmental difficulty secondary to that. And I bring this up because that child, born in Flint, Michigan, 4 years ago, did not have the same opportunity my daughter, born in Newark, Delaware, 4 years ago, has. That little girl is forever broken. There is no recovery from lead brain damage. She's going to require assistance from her family, and I would love to say the state, but we all know that they're not going to help. For the rest of her life, she's going to need help. And every time I watch my daughter succeed, every time I see her learn new things, I'm going to think about that 4-year-old little girl in Flint, who, although is aging alongside my daughter, is never going to experience the same life that she does. So much to talk about. The father also explained to us that originally Michigan was going to include the citizens of Flint in relaying the pipe in that city, that the local community were going to be the ones that would benefit from the jobs that came from laying the new pipe there. And he was just informed recently and passed on to us that those jobs are now going to be outsourced. Because at the end of the day, it's not people that are important, it's money. It's the cash that these people have to spend to make these areas better. And they don't want to have to spend the money. They want cheap labor and cheap work, which never leads to long-term solutions. Short-term fixes. It's like writing things down, making it look really nice on paper, but knowing at the end of the day, what you're doing isn't really making a difference because you took all the shortcuts. You didn't really do the work that needed to be done. And on the other side of me, right over here, you see boats in the river, people riding around in their sea-doos, construction, and greenery. Brand new skyscrapers, brand new casinos. Because, what does Michigan really need? We need more casinos, right? But on this side of the river where I stand with you now are abandoned churches, abandoned buildings, homeless people everywhere. But right over there, opportunity. Over here, oppression. So going back to Flint, let's just remember, these people still pay their taxes. They're still paying for the water to be delivered to their home. They're paying for police service. They're paying for firemen to show up in their house when they need them. There's one location in Flint, Michigan that the government distributes water from. One. And not everybody in that community has a car. They have to walk everywhere. And when you spend the time to walk to the one distribution center run by the state, they allow you to take one case of water. One case of water. And then you have to carry it home. You have to walk back. And at the end of this year, January 1st, the state is even going to stop doing that. As of January 1st, 2017, the citizens of Flint are going to be on their own in regards to getting water. Now, the water going to their home still isn't clean. How do we know that? One of the gentlemen that I spoke to the other day said that they are sent water testing kits from the state that they then fill up and then send back to the state. And then they have to trust in the state that the results they're going to be giving back to these people are real and accurate. And you tell me how much faith you'd have in those results. And these people aren't being allowed to test their own water. These people aren't being afforded the opportunity to get the blood testing that they need and the treatment that they need. The state is not covering any of these costs. Governor Snyder, I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you. You're spending all this taxpayer money. I just walked past a park in downtown Detroit that you're building, that you want to have ready for 2017, surrounding all the gentrification projects that you're paying for. Why are we doing anything else right now to develop any part of Michigan before we lay new pipe in that community? Because you don't care about those people. So if anybody watching, if you have contact information for his office, please comment the number in the thread and I will repost it and share it. Because we need to let his office know within Michigan and from all around this country that we're paying attention again and that we know what's happening and that we're not going to accept this. Not in America. The people of Flint feel completely abandoned by their government. And I know this because the first gentleman who had lived in Flint, Michigan for 42 years, I asked him a question about living in Flint. And he looked at me with a very serious face and said, pointing back at his house with the tarp on the roof and cardboard and wood on the windows, does this look like living? All I do here is exist. Let's not make them feel abandoned by us as well. So myself and Niko House and a couple other people are trying to coordinate with local churches in the area in Flint so that we, you all, myself, and anyone else who sees this message can get water to Flint while we continue to work on a long-term solution. And trust me, that's what we're doing. We're trying to find a solution that is going to cost around $100 a household where these people can have clean water either through rain collection or filtering the water that's coming into their home to make it safe. I don't know what the answers are, but we're going to find out and we're going to help them. But in the meantime, you can go to waterwarriors.com, which is a website of 4 women from Flint, Michigan, who originally brought this story to light. Or please follow my page. I'm going to be having contact information for the churches that we're going to be working with that you can directly buy water online from Amazon, from Walmart, wherever you want to go, and ship it to these churches so it's available for the people in Flint. I've got a lot more to talk about. I think I've taken up enough of your time. I told you the information that I wanted to tell you. I tried really hard to just kind of keep it fact-based and keep my emotion out of it. Because it's not about me. I leave here tomorrow. It's about the people who are living in these conditions for 3 years. 3 years they've been living this way. How would you live if you couldn't use the water in your house for that long? How would you survive? What would you do? Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Again, please share.
Originally, we were just going to kind of drive through the community and just see what we could see, and then tell the people in the rest of the country what's really going on, because the news isn't talking to you guys anymore. They're not talking about you guys anymore.
Yeah, as soon as the primaries was over, it seemed like.
I talked to a gentleman, an Uber driver.
Come on by, gentlemen. Y'all want to get interviewed? Y'all want to get interviewed by some journalists?
You guys good?
If I wasn't on the phone with this irritating person, I would.
Hey, it don't get no easier when you get older.
Welcome to the future club. Yeah. Anyway, you guys picked the right neighborhood, I'll tell you why.
Maybe it was intuition, or maybe it was the sign with the church with the sign that said.
Yeah, do you go up and get water from this church up here?
I have once.
Yeah.
They don't give as much water up here as other facilities.
Whoa, how many facilities are there?
I heard there's 9 now. At one time there was only 4, but it's up to 9 now.
So, is this like, if you don't mind me asking, like, is this like the water y'all bathe in? Y'all have to like use all of, like, that's.
It depends on the individuals. You know, some people are, skin are so sensitive, so they have to bathe in it. Wow. And you have to watch. The only thing you can do with it is like wash your dishes. But your fruits and vegetables
can't wash.
Yeah, you can't wash to clean them.
What you can is take that chance.
So you got lead in your water. You got lead in your water, which is preventing you from cleaning the food that you got to eat, which is sprayed with poisons before you're able to eat it. So it's either do I put the water with the lead on my food so I can clean the chemicals off my food, or do I eat the chemical in the food because I don't want to wash it off with lead-tainted water?
Can you get as much water as you want from those facilities, or is it like rationed?
Well, it depends on the facility. Some of them say, I pulled up to one, they said, how much water you want? I said, how about 100 gallons? No. And I said, well, how many times a day can I come and get some? She said, well, I can give you 20 now, then you just come out throughout the day and get 20 more and 20 more, so it add up to 100.
Right.
Not that I would get 100.
Yeah.
Right.
So are you talking 20 cases like of bottled water or like a jug? What kind of?
Okay, about like 16.9 fluid ounces.
So some people, because of their own healthcare needs, have to take this bottled water that I guess you, like most people would use to drink with, cook with, and they have to bathe in it, shower in it, clean themselves in it. It's unbelievable.
No, and I here's something too. A lot of my neighbors, what they're doing, they're watering their plants with bottled water.
Oh my God! So you're taking a scarce resource as it is. That obviously there's not enough to go around to everybody.
I didn't even think about the dogs.
Yeah, the pets. That's all. I give my dog bottled water. That's it.
Yes, but in some situations the lead is so bad in certain houses that they tell people, don't even with the filter, don't even. And then they're going to test me in 6 more months. But here's the thing: I haven't drank Flint water probably 2 or 3 years, and it was only for like coffee and food.
Right.
So if I got elevated lead in my blood now after 2 years, well, what can I do to get? Well, no. how does it get out of you?
Right.
Because. Did anyone mention about garlic, for instance?
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What, does garlic help you get let out?
Yeah.
There's something in Africa.
Well, I don't like that.
There was a joke.
I'm not straight up.
Yeah, there's garlic.
Don't say onions either.
Yeah, so you don't like onions either?
There's a homemade garlic filter that people are using in other nations to get lead out of water.
So
I gotta do some more research.
Do you know if there's any initiatives for people to donate to, or like any websites or any the name of any initiatives around town that people could donate to?
Like that we could pass on the word to try to get you guys help.
You could probably go on the website and find out, because there's so many of them. A lot of these churches, like that church up here in the corner, that water is donated to them.
Oh wow!
So in other words, they probably.
So we're skeptical of the .coms. That's why we try to ask for specific, if any of the people recommend them, because websites can be sketchy.
Yeah.
Some of these nonprofit organization CEOs make $10 million a year. So.
Do you think that if we kind of drove around and found some other churches or community centers or something that had water places, and we contacted those churches and said, would you accept donations of water from people, that would be all right?
Oh yeah. Matter of fact.
Can you talk for a little bit?
Today. Saturday, this is a holiday.
Oh man, he can't talk. He gonna be back here on a mission. It's probably because of a female. I know for a fact it is.
I live in Delaware. She lives in Delaware with me. She's from New York. She's from New York. He's from New York. We came to speak at a Jill Stein event today in Detroit. But while we were here,
Did you see Trump while you were there?
No, no. I try to stay away from him. That's bad energy. I don't want any part of that. Yeah.
Hillary's trying to stay away from everybody.
Yeah. She's hiding right now.
She's been hiding. She actually got attacked the other day because the press wasn't even riding in the same plane as her, which is really unconventional for a presidential candidate. And you have all these other candidates literally fighting and clawing to get press. Right. And they were being forced to take a completely different plane. Right. And so once they were finally forced to be on the same plane as Hillary, one of her representatives were like, "Are you happy? You got what you want?" They were legitimately upset because the press wanted to, speak to a presidential candidate.
Engaged. Right.
But she's been dodging. A lot of people speculate that she's actually really sick.
There was speculation that Obama wasn't a U.S. citizen either.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, but the difference is Obama, his parents were born. One of his parents were born here. Hillary is acting. It's just not normal. And then with her, what people are mainly pointing out is her random change.
Come on over.
That's his sign.
Is it your sign?
You're the Bernie guy. What's your name? Jerry. Niko. This is Jeff.
Hey man, nice to meet you, Jerry. I'm from Delaware, man. I just came out to Detroit to speak at a Jill Stein event.
How you doing, man? Niko.
And wanted to take this opportunity to come to Flint to kind of get an idea of what you guys are living with. Because nobody's talking. Your local news isn't talking about it. The national media isn't talking about it. I was in an Uber the other day with a guy who was born and raised in Michigan who thought your water situation was taken care of.
Oh man, it's been.
He's an hour from here.
Yeah.
So we were just asking your neighbors. So from the time you wake up in the morning to the time you go to sleep at night, I drink coffee, I cook food, I shower, I brush my teeth. How do you progress through the course of a day without being able to go to your tap or go to your shower? How has your days changed?
you take a risk. You got to bathe.
Right.
I can't bathe in bottled water,
Yeah.
But as far as any consumption or brush my teeth, it's all bottled water.
Now, is it true? Because I've been hearing
3 years you've been doing that?
3 years. Well, 3 years since it happened.
Right.
And has any of the
2 years,
candidates,
2.5 years.
even the local candidates, have any of them come back since the primaries?
Local, Kildee's been around. But as far as
But none of the
Hillary,
Medicaid
she's
candidates,
never.
none of the surrogates.
none of the local representation. I mean, is anybody who's
Well, see, they
currently in
started,
office?
our mayor started a fast track program, and it stalled right off. I think they did 3 houses, and then it quit.
Fast track.
And then they've wasted all this time. We've had all this good weather. Now they're starting it back up. They're doing like 3 or 4 a day.
Right before.
They run out of asphalt. September, I think, they can't get any more asphalt. So, and then this winter comes and
and all work stops.
So they've wasted like 6 months.
Now, is there anybody in local government that you actually feel like is speaking on the behalf of the residents who live here, you and your neighbors?
Anybody that you would recommend at all?
Not really.
That's scary, man.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Man,
it's a mess.
Do you know? We were asking him. Do you know like any way that people can help? Where can people donate to? What can people do? Like,
well,
a lot of people want to help.
Bottled water is starting to dry up.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That the bottled water is starting to dry up. The filters that are supposed to be lasting 3 months only last a month because of the amount of lead in the water. I mean, and that's probably the primary reason we came here is because we wanted to try to get focus back on Flint because nobody else is talking about it. And people don't know that you guys are still living through this trouble. So if you know of any resources that we can tell people,
please
go here so you can help Flint.
Online, look for Water Warriors.
Water Warriors?
You trust them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Water Warriors. Do y'all hear that, everybody? Water Warriors.
They've been here since the beginning.
And they're still here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're the ones that were more or less speaking out. And,
good.
There's some religious leaders. Woodson, I think is his name. And there's a few of them that are
speaking up about it.
Yeah, they've been from the beginning.
I mean, you don't see.
The reason I come out here is
you saw the car in front of your house.
No, my dog barked, and then I seen people standing down here by the Bernie signs. They had a couple of them ripped off.
Oh God, yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I was
come out here and say, okay,
I was a Bernie
down
Sanders
there
delegate in
Bernie
Philadelphia, so yeah.
Whenever the moles got exposed, that was all me getting called crazy at first. You know. That was fun.
Straight up, they stole it from me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And I don't understand how they can just walk away from election fraud.
I have a question. Were you involved with the campaign at all while you were here, or like while he was here?
Yeah.
What is this guy's name? Okay, he was one of the lead.
Craig? Mark Craig?
Yeah, Mark. Have you seen him?
No, I haven't seen him lately. No.
He's up and disappeared ever since he gave us the information. Oh, I'm dead since March.
Wow.
Since March, he went dark on Facebook. He changed his phone number 2 to 3 times. Luckily, he kind of gave us, because he told us, he was the one who gave us information about Ryan Hughes. And he, at a certain point, just got so tired of, like, I guess his contact, like, beating around the bush because she was, like, worried about her political career.
Yeah.
But, like, it turned out that, like, her organization was paying Ryan Hughes at the same time as Bernie Sanders' organization was, which is illegal. It violates their contracts to breach.
There's a lot of illegality going on.
Oh yeah, and so yeah. Ever since then, I mean, I just was hoping that I can at least know that he's okay or alive. But you know, he's a pretty resourceful guy, so hopefully he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I hope he's all right.
Did you hear about what happened to him once the information dropped about Ryan Hughes? The feds went in and raided his marijuana stash.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh, yeah. Like, the day after.
Well, he's on medical marijuana.
No, but he grew. And it was legal here.
I was going to say, shouldn't he be able to grow it?
Oh, perfectly. He's been doing it for years.
What? For the state. But the feds
But
still
the feds can do whatever they want.
They choose to come in and get you.
Which is ridiculous.
That's what they're doing in a lot. Yeah. I mean, look at the law they just passed with the DARK Act that essentially says the states who have passed laws, such as Vermont, that say that you have to label the food that you want to sell in this state about whether or not it's genetically modified or if it's real, natural, organic food. and it passed, and the corporations responded. I mean, you look at a packet of M&Ms right now, it says used with partially genetically modified ingredients.
Yeah.
And now the DARK Act passed through the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House has eliminated all those state laws so that they no longer have any teeth. They're no longer in effect. And that's our federal government just
That's why they
railroading
cheated.
everything.
Bernie was going to blow the whistle on it.
everything.
I know, right? And it's a small government, the small government Republicans passing these laws, right?
Well, that's been the problem all along.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Now we got the
I mean,
corporate
I
Democrats.
had my flag flying upside down. I just put it back right.
I posted a
Just
couple
the other-
pictures of that, and people got really angry. They were like, "What does that mean?" I said, "We are a country in distress.
Yes.
And the
That is
scary-
what you're supposed to do."
That is a universal sign that something's
you know what?
wrong.
You know what the scary? The
In other
scariest
words, when
thing-
you approach the fort, you see the flag flying upside
there's
down.
a problem.
Don't go down there because something's wrong.
You know what? Well, here's the scariest thing. It's the fact that people have to ask you why the flag is why you have the flag upside. Like,
people don't know.
Yeah.
like you don't know. Like,
Well, you know, talking with people on the phone, you know, they call, I don't know, checking or something, or doing this, or selling, or whatever, and they, you know, do their spiel. I'm not interested, you know, and then they said, "Do you mind if I ask you a personal question?" I said, "No." Is it true what I hear about Flint? And I said, "Yeah, you're darn right, it's true."
can't make
And
that
they're
stuff
all,
up.
They can't believe it, you know.
Well, because
in
I mean, this-
America.
exactly, and that's exactly the
Right.
thing. I mean, we're the country that, you know, you look back to World War II. We shut down the manufacturing in this country to focus 100% on the war effort. You know, the car manufacturing, especially here in Michigan,
That's
was
why we
used
won.
to create exactly. So we are capable as a nation of coming together and completing goals that we set out to achieve. But if the politicians in office right now have no interest in actually doing these things that the people need them to do, like repairing the water in Flint, it's never going to get done because you do need that leadership, and there is none right now because there's nobody who's caring about
All
the
across
people.
the country.
Yes.
All across.
And the worst part
What
is,
the thing is
there's a
they've been letting it go for 30 years now.
so.
Scooping the
Because it
money off
costs
the
money to
top.
fix it.
Yeah.
So here's my question to you, and this I think is something because this is what I experienced today. I had the pleasure of interacting with one of your good old Michigan police officers. Yeah, that was fun. He told me that I have to pay him $100 to go to jail. So yeah,
We'll
that
go to
was
jail.
fun.
Yeah, he was bribed this morning. Stopped for a speeding ticket. and was
But
told
he
that-
gave me a receipt, so it wasn't a bribe. So he
wrote
said.
him a receipt for the $100. Yeah.
I've been living in Michigan most of my life, and well, not most of my life. I was born here, went through school, left, and came back, probably 2008.
Yeah.
I have never heard of anybody being pulled over and the cop wanting $100 to go to jail.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever been a black man growing up in Michigan?
No, I can't say that I have. But I'm just, the reason I said that was because
I've
I
heard
don't
literally
think that's
everyone,
bullshit.
Yeah,
every
exactly.
person
It's
that
not
I've
good.
talked to
It's not
today
good.
has
Well, what are you
said
going
that.
to do?
Exactly.
What-
What's your
See?
recourse?
Do you know how?
Now,
do
I
you
had
know
I had
how?
a run-in with a state cop in Florida coming home from work.
Oh, they're almost worse.
Now I'm tooling down. I just got off the expressway. I'm on a 2-lane highway heading east-west. I'm heading for home. And there was this flatbed truck that had
We
hauled
share this,
something
everybody.
really
We
dirty.
share it.